Hey guys, Mike from Templar Airsoft.com. Thanks for watching. Today's video, Q&A session. Got a load of questions, got some good ones, and I'll go over those in a second. First, I want to talk about the video I posted on Friday regarding the Gun Trade Association's proposed amendment to legislation for airsoft guns and their power within the UK. That's been receded now, or rescinded, and they're not going to put that through. And it looks like the GTA and Lord Shrewsbury looks like they're now looking to work with the airsoft community to work together with the gun community and get things sorted as a whole, which is obviously good news. So moving on to questions. First question is from Tyler from Instagram, and it's how did I come about with the name? I assume he means Templar Airsoft. When I first set up Templar Airsoft, obviously I was looking for a name. I wanted something a little bit unique, something a little bit different. I trained with a company called Ronin outside after I left the army, and they instilled a certain ethos and principles that I carry out and follow through with my work and my private life, and I wanted something very similar. And I didn't want to use the Ronin stuff because I didn't want to. There was already a couple of Ronin airsoft teams out there, and I didn't want to get linked back to the training company as well. I didn't want it to look like I was trying to copy up, rip off their stuff. So I looked for something else, and the Knights Templar, something I've always been interested in terms of their ethos, and their initial mission was for the protection of Christian pilgrims going to the Holy Land from bandits and things like that, and other things that they did, obviously before they went on done the nasty stuff, but other things they did with their ethos and things like that. That's why I sort of was drawn to Templar, for the Knights Templar, obviously because Knights and associated with the UK. And when I started to draw up a logo for it, I liked the logo. I thought it was a cool logo, and that's it really. It's nothing to do. A lot of guys probably won't know this. I tried to keep it a lot quiet because I didn't want to give these dickheads any more, light of day. But about a year ago, I had a lot of emails from people who thought I was a modern day crusader against all Muslims. Absolute horseshit. Not the case at all. I've got a lot of time for Muslims. So it's nothing like that. It's purely the ethos that they had. So if you're one of those people who are following me because you think I am a crusader against Muslims, you may as well unfollow me, because I am not. Next question from Mr. Edgley from Instagram. Why do I have a pink phone case? Because it's cool, man. Pink's the new black. Look out for a pink t-shirt soon. Alex from Instagram. Is the colour yellow equal to the mass of an orange? No idea. Probably. Shit Smart from YouTube asks a sensible question. TM recoil or gas blowback? I think gas blowbacks are awesome. They, depending on what part of the world you're living in, will depend on how much you enjoy the system. If your weather is very temperamental, if it's like it is in the UK, there's going to be a lot of times when you're not going to be able to use them, but they are good fun. You've got the added fact of stripping down and cleaning, but much like a real firearm. That's a good thing. If you're like me, I quite enjoy stripping my pistols and sitting there in front of the TV with them on the coffee table, cleaning them like I would like you would a real firearm. I enjoy that aspect of weapons. I never minded that aspect in the army or in other areas, cleaning the weapons. And so if you want that aspect and you want the whole bit, having to look after the system a bit more, a gas blowback's good. If the weather holds for it. TM recoils, awesome bits of kit, quite pricey obviously. They work really well and they're really, really fun to use. So I don't know, for me, it depends. Gas blowbacks are awesome, but in the UK they're a bit of a ball ache. You can, middle of summer, and you can have a cold morning and you're screwed. So I don't know, 50-50 on that one. I think for me, a TM recoiler would be awesome. I am planning on getting a gas blowback though, an M4 for the training days and things like that. I'd help out with on Just Cause Airsoft, but a TM recoil would be awesome as well. I played with another recoil system a couple of weeks ago with Just Cause Airsoft, and I forget the name of the manufacturer now. I won't be reviewing it because there was a major problem with it, but the recoil in it was the hardest recoil I have experienced on any airsoft gun. It was pretty much realistic. The problem though was that the gun was rattling itself to death. Pins were popping out and bits were sort of coming off all over the place. But if you get if you can get a good gas blowback system that's got a heavy recoil in it, or if you can get TM with good heavy recoil, later on down the line, either or, I don't think it's going to make too much difference really. The gas blowbacks are pretty cool. Arctic W3 Airsoft on YouTube asked, will the mounting plate fit an IBH NVG mount? What he means for that is, this is on my GoPro video. I've got a metal mounting plate here, mounted into the NVG Shroud. Very nice, easy. It's a snug fit. Well, it wasn't, but with a bit of a scapper tape on there, sniper tape, it's now a snug fit. It doesn't move around at all. The IBH helmets, they're an old helmet. There wasn't very many of them issued or made, if I remember right, the Kevlar versions. You can get them quite easily for airsoft. I believe the mounting bracket for this, it sort of clips in at the top and then clips in the bottom. I believe the IBH helmets, it's sort of the mounting plate for those NVG systems slide in from the top, so this wouldn't work. I've seen guys running, I'm not sure whether they were SEALs or contractors, but I've seen guys running IBH helmets with a different shroud on. They've taken off the IBH shroud and they've put on a normal shroud so they can get a normal mounting plate on. So that's an option you've got there. I think it hangs down a bit though below the lip of the helmet. So if you don't want to do that, I think the next best option you've got is to get a J-arm or a mounting arm for an NVG mount and try and mod it to take a GoPro. I think that's the only option you really got, or swap the helmet. But yeah, this will not fit on a standard IBH helmet mount. Jacob Baker from Facebook must have been bored last night. I know Jacob must have been very bored because he asked a load of questions, but I'll answer them all because he's asked them. First question is, do you have a dog? Is it a girl or a boy? How old? And can I meet your dog? Yes, I have a dog. She's a bitch German Shepherd. She's 5 with the mental age of a 1-year-old in adult years, and no fucking way am I introducing you to my dog. Next question. Pros and cons of the M4 M16 platform over the versus the L85A2. Before the modular rail system was introduced on the L85s, the SA80s, M4 wins on modularity. You got that rail system, you can attach whatever you want to it, because it's a standardized rail. It's a lot easier. You pick whatever you want, stick it on there. The SA80, the A2s, beforehand we used to have these silly little rail attached to the side of the handguard, and you could only attach a specific type of grip on there. Not grip, sorry, a specific type of laser light module. Now that they've got the Daniel Defense rail system on there, in terms of modularity, they're both as good as each other. You can stick whatever you want on either one of them now, which is great. So in that sense, they're kind of equal. The M4 and even the M16, I think, it's been a while since I've handled an M16, but they're both lighter than the SA80. But the M4s and the M16s have that added bonus of being able to be shouldered left-handed. So if you're going to shoot around a left-handed bit of cover, you don't have to expose as much of your body. Now there's new teachings with the SA80 and other bullpup systems where, obviously, particularly with the SA80, if you shoulder to the left, the cock and handle, because of the design of it, it's going to smash in the jaw. It's probably going to knock a few teeth out. So the current methodology for teaching around the left-hand corner is to switch to a sort of half transition. So you keep your primary hand on the pistol grip, you keep your support hand where it is on the weapon system, and then you bring the stock to here, basically, and then you use your left eye. So in terms of left-handed shooting, you can do both. Shooting around left-hand corners, sorry, you can do both. Do it with both systems. In terms of accuracy, though, that's where the L85 improves. It does have a lot longer barrel. It has a longer barrel than the M16, even though it's a lot shorter because of that bullpup design. So airsoft, that doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, in the real world, it can make a big difference in terms of accuracy and effective range. So that's pros and cons, really. They're both kind of equal grounds now in terms of usability, but the M4 in particular is a lot lighter than the SA80, so in that sense it's a lot better. It's a lot easier to shoot left-handed. You can do it with the SA80, but it's not quite as easy, but obviously it doesn't have the range. So it's pros and cons for those. Both good systems, though. I think the SA80, a lot of people seem to misunderstand the current version of it. The A2 is a lot better than the original system that we had, which was the A1, which was absolute piece of shit. I think in one live firing package I did a few years ago, just before we swapped over to the A2, down in Brecon, I think it was, I snapped 2 firing pins and broke 3 extractor claws off the bolt. Had Christ knows how many expanding casing jams. It was just ridiculous in just 1 week of firing. Switching over to the A2, touch wood, I didn't have any sort of, I can't think of any stoppage that any sort of notable stoppage with the system. Certainly nothing breaking or malfunctioning. Maybe a misfeed due to a dirty mag, or particularly in Afghan, you're putting a lot of rounds through your rifles, and they're covered in, by the end of the day, they're just covered in crap. So obviously guys out there, every now and then a couple of stoppages towards the end, but that 1 week of live firing I did with the A1, I had probably 20 times more stoppages than I even saw from myself and other people in 6 months of Afghanistan. So the A2 is an awesome weapon system, really reliable, now that HK sorted it out. Next question again from Jacob is Browning high power or 1911? I don't know, to be honest. Outside of, I've not really used either. I've had a little go on both of them in airsoft, but not too much. Outside of airsoft, I was never really a fan of the Browning high power. I much preferred the Sig, and I've not really used the 1911 enough to comment. So I have to take a pass on that one. Following on from that question, Jacob then asked, Sig or Glock? I'm a big fan of the Sig. I love my Sig 226. I've got a bit of a bias towards it because I've used one in the real world. And I just like it. It fits my hands nicely. I like it. Recently I've been running the Glock 17 from Stark Arms, which was given to me by the guys at Just Cause Airsoft, and that is very quickly becoming my favourite gun. It's a CO2 version. It's absolutely amazing. If you're talking real world, the Glocks are nice. I do like the Sigs. It depends what you're using it for. If you're going to use it for military stuff, I'd probably say the Sig. If you're going to use for plain clothes things or civilian applications, a good Glock's probably going to be better for you. But in terms of airsoft, I love my Sig, but the Glock is creeping up there. Next question from Jacob is a bit of a serious one. ISIS or Taliban if I had to trade one for the other? Fucking bizarre question, but he's asked it, I'll answer it. They're basically the same. Taliban were doing for years what ISIS are now doing in Afghanistan. The only difference is ISIS want to dominate the world. The Taliban have only ever really been interested in control of Afghanistan. But ISIS want to kill everyone in the world, whereas the Taliban harboured people that wanted to kill everybody in the world. So, you know, ISIS are a direct threat to everyone else, whereas the Taliban were an indirect threat to everybody else through their willingness to harbour terrorists. They're both as bad as each other. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want this to be about politics and shit like that, but they're both two big groups of massive arseholes that need to be eradicated from the earth. But that's it. That's it for this week's questions and answers video. Thanks for those of you that did ask questions. Hopefully you found it interesting. I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to do this every week or every other week, but if you've got questions, ask on this video or any of my other videos, social media platforms, etc., and I shall endeavour to get those questions answered. And that's it. So any more questions, ask away. As you can see, I will answer them all, although some I will give more time to than others. Jacob. And that's it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.